Welcome to another biology presentation. So in this presentation, we are going to look at biology paper 1 for 2024. So we are going to answer the entire paper from question 1 up to question 40. So let's look at the question 1. The question reads, the diagram shows a light microscope. So this is the light microscope. Which labeled part supports the objective lens? So which part of the microscope supports the objective lens? So the part of the microscope that supports the objective lens is called the revolving nosepiece. So the revolving nosepiece is this part labeled B. So the correct answer here is B. We move on to our question 2. So here is our question 2. Which of the following describes the similarities between a plant cell and an animal cell? Both have dash A, cell membrane and cell, B, cell membrane and nucleus, C, chloroplast and vacuole, D, cytoplasm and vacuole. So here we are looking for the similarities that exist between a plant cell and an animal cell. So both a plant cell and an animal cell, they have cell membrane and the nucleus. So the correct answer here is a B. We come to our question 3. Which of the following statements correctly defines active transport? Movement of dash A, molecules across a membrane along a concentration gradient using energy from ATP. B, molecules across a membrane against a concentration gradient using energy from ATP. C, solutes into and out of a cell across a membrane. D, water molecules from high concentration to low concentration across a membrane. So here, the best definition of active transport is the movement of molecules across a membrane against a concentration gradient using energy from ATP. So the correct answer here is B. So we now move on to our fourth question. So here is our question 4. The question reads, the diagram illustrates one model of enzyme action. So here we have the substrate, we also have the enzyme, we also have the active site, we have the products here and the enzyme, then we also have the enzyme substrate complex. So what model of enzyme action is being demonstrated in the diagram? So enzymes are A, affected by inhibitors, B, affected by pH, C, affected by temperature, D, substrate specific. So here the correct answer is enzymes are substrate specific. So the correct answer here it's a D. So here what it means is that substrate specific because the active sites is just the shape that complements the shape of the substrate, like a local key. Okay, so we now move on to our question 5. So here is our question 5. Our question 5 reads, the table shows types of food and their protein content per gram. So we have food apple, protein content per gram 0.2. We have food beef, protein content 19.0. We have food carrot, protein content 0.7. We have food cheese, the protein content 26.0. We have food milk, the protein content 3.3. Which type of food would give the highest positive results with burette test? A, apple and milk, B, beef and cheese, C, carrot and apple, D, milk and D, carrot. So we are looking for the type of food that would give the highest positive result with the burette test. Okay, so the food that will give us the highest positive result with the burette test, we are going to consider the food that is having higher concentration in protein content per gram. Okay, so we are looking at beef. So beef, it has got 19.0 protein content per gram, and the cheese, it has 26.0 protein content per gram. So the correct answer is B, beef and cheese. We now come to our question 6. Which of the following diseases is as a result of iodine deficiency in the diet? A, anemia, B, goiter, C, marasmus, D, obesity. So the correct answer here is C, B. So iodine deficiency in the diet leads to goiter. So we now move on to our question 7. The question reads, the table shows the recommended amounts of 4 nutrients for 4 different people. So we have person A, protein per gram 30 grams, vitamin per gram 20, iron 7 grams, calcium 600 grams. We also have person B, for protein 43 grams, vitamin 20 grams, iron 10 grams, calcium 600 grams. Person C, protein 53 grams, vitamin 25 grams, iron 13 grams, calcium 700 grams. Person D, protein 60 gram, vitamin 60 gram, iron 14 gram, calcium 1200 grams. Which person represents a pregnant woman? So here we are looking for the person that presents a pregnant woman. So we know that a pregnant woman, this woman requires large amounts of nutrients, okay, in the diet. But these nutrients should be in small portions, okay. So the reason why they need that is because they need the nutrients for the developing fetus. They share. Once a mother takes in those nutrients, they are going to share with the fetus. So that's why they need large amounts of proteins. So here we are going to look at the proteins. We have 60, the vitamin we have 60, iron 14, then calcium we have 1200 grams. So the correct answer here is C, D. So we now move on to our question 8. The question reads, which of the following shows the effect to a plant growing in a soil that lacks calcium? A, poor fruit formation. B, poor root growth. C, standard growth. D, yellowish of leaves. So the effect of a plant that is growing in a soil that lacks calcium is going to result in poor fruity formation. Okay, so here you may find that the fruits may become deformed, or they can even develop low quality, making them unmarketable. Okay, so we have answered our question 8. We now move on to our question 9. So the question reads, the diagram shows a transverse section of a dicotyledonous leaf. So this is the transverse section of the dicotyledonous leaf, showing the parts 1, 2, 3. What are the numbered parts? So 1 cuticle, 2 phloem, 3 xylem. B, cuticle, 2 xylem, 3 phloem. C, 1 palisade, 2 phloem, 3 xylem. D, 1 palisade, 2 xylem, 3 phloem. So here the correct answer is that when you look at 1 is the palisade, which is this one right here. Then 2, this is the xylem. Then 3, this is the phloem. So the correct answer is C, a D. So we now come to question 10. The question reads, the diagram shows the longitudinal section through a canine tooth. So this is the diagram showing the longitudinal section through a canine tooth. So which part detects heat? So the part of the tooth that detects heat are the nerves. So this part is the part labeled what? C. Okay. So the nerve endings, these nerve endings, they are able to transmit sensations, including hot and cold, to the tooth. Okay. So we move on now to our question 11. The question reads, the diagram shows a section of a human alimentary canal. So this is the section of the human alimentary canal labeled F, G, and H. Which events are correctly matched with the parts labeled F, G, and H? A, F, digestion of carbohydrates. G, digestion of proteins. H, digestion of lipids. B, F, digestion of lipids. G, digestion of carbohydrates. H, digestion of proteins. C, F, digestion of lipids. G, digestion of lipids. H, digestion of proteins. D, F, digestion of proteins. G, digestion of lipids. H, digestion of carbohydrates. When you look at F, this is the mouth. Okay, this is the mouth, and in the mouth, that's where we have digestion of carbohydrates. Then when you look at G, this is the stomach, and in the stomach, that is where we have digestion of proteins. When you look at H, right here, we have the digestion of what? Lipids taking place. So the correct answer here is C, A. So F, which is the mouth, of digestion of carbohydrates. In G, digestion of proteins. In H, we have digestion of lipids. So we go to question 12. The question reads, the following equation represents respiration in living organisms. So we have glucose giving us the byproducts X plus carbon dioxide plus energy. What is the substance X in the equation? So here we are looking at anaerobic respiration, which is the type of cellular respiration that occurs in the absence of oxygen. So as you can see, there is no oxygen here. So here we have this part about X, which is ethanol. So the correct answer is A. So we now move on to our question 13. Which of the following is the causative agent for malaria? A, female mosquito. B, mycobacteria. C, plasmodium. D, vibrio cholera. So the causative agent for malaria is C, plasmodium. So the correct answer is C. We come to our question 14. Which of the following is a safe sexual practice? A, consistent and correct use of condoms. B, having multiple sexual partners. C, having unprotected sexual intercourse. D, kissing and sharing contaminated body fluids. So we are looking for the safe sexual practice. So from this we can see that consistent and correct use of condoms will be regarded as the safe sexual practice. So the correct answer is A. We now move on to our question 15. Which of the following correctly shows the functions of the solid parts of blood? A, we have erythrocytes, blood clotting. Leukocytes, transport oxygen. Thrombocytes, defense against pathogens. B, erythrocytes, defense against pathogens. Leukocytes, transport oxygen. Thrombocytes, blood clotting. C, erythrocytes, transport oxygen. Leukocytes, blood clotting. Thrombocytes, defense against pathogens. D, erythrocytes, transport oxygen. Leukocytes, defense against pathogens. Thrombocytes, blood clotting. So here we need to understand that when you look at erythrocytes, so erythrocytes is just the other name for red blood cells, which are also responsible for transportation of oxygen. Then when you look at leukocytes, this is just the other name for white blood cells, and the function of the white blood cells is just for defense against pathogens. When we look at thrombocytes, the other name is the platelets, and the function of the platelets is just for blood clotting. So the correct answer here is C, D. Erythrocytes transport oxygen. Leukocytes defense against pathogens. Thrombocytes blood clotting. So we move on to our question 16. The question reads, the diagram shows the external structure of the human heart. So this is the external structure of the human heart. Name the parts labeled X, Y, and Z. So here we need to know the parts labeled X. We also need to know the part labeled Y and the part labeled Z. So the part labeled X, this part right here, this is called the inferior vena cava, and the part labeled Y, this is the coronary artery, and the part labeled Z is the pulmonary artery. So the correct answer is a C. So X is the inferior vena cava, Y is the coronary artery, Z is the pulmonary artery. So we now move on to our question 17. The question reads, what is the difference between plasma and tissue fluid? A, plasma, dissolved glucose present. Tissue fluid, no dissolved glucose. B, plasma, less dissolved glucose. Tissue fluid, more dissolved glucose. C, plasma, more protein molecules. Tissue fluid, fewer protein molecules. D, plasma, no white blood cells. Tissue fluid, white blood cells present. So here we are looking at the difference that exists between plasma and the tissue fluid. So we understand that when you look at the plasma, we have the dissolved glucose is present because it carries the nutrients, okay, which are thin and they are absorbed from the small intestines and they are being transported to the tissue fluids. Now, in the tissue fluids, they are going to use up all the glucose, okay, that's why there will be no dissolved glucose. So the correct answer here is A. Plasma, it has dissolved glucose present, and the tissue fluid, it has not dissolved the glucose. So we come to question 18. Which of the following is not an excretory product of plants? A. Carbon dioxide, B. Latex, C. Oxygen, D. Urea. So urea is not an excretory product of what? Of plants, because urea is being excreted by animals, not plants. So we have answered our question 18. We now move on to our question 19. The question reads, the diagram shows part of the nephron. So we have this diagram showing part of the nephron. We have the Bowman's capsule, sorry. We also have the cells lining the capsule. Then we have the pathway body Y. So the question reads, which of the following is not found in the filtrate Y? A. Glucose, B. Mineral ions, C. Proteins, D. Urea. So here, proteins are not going to be found in the filtrate. Why? Okay, because the proteins are very large, hence they cannot be filtered out of the blood vessels. So we now move on to question 20. So the question reads, which of the following is not an endocrine gland? A. Hypothalamus, B. Pancreas, C. Pituitary, D. Thyroid. So the part which is not part of an endocrine gland is the hypothalamus. So the correct answer is A. So we now move on to question 21. The question reads, the diagram shows the human brain. So this is the diagram showing the human brain. We have the part labeled A, B, C, and D. So which of the labeled parts is responsible for coordinating all body movements? So the part that is responsible for coordinating all body movements is the part called the cerebellum, and this is the part labeled B. So the correct answer is B. So we now move on to our next question. So this is our question 22. Okay. So our question 22 reads, the diagram shows an eye accommodated for nearby objects. So this is the diagram showing an eye. So we have nearby object, we have the lens, we have the ciliary muscles, we also have the light focused on the retina. So what happens to the ciliary muscle and the lens? A. Ciliary muscle contracts, the lens becomes thicker. B. The ciliary muscles contracts, the lens becomes thinner. C. Ciliary muscles relaxes, the lens becomes thicker. D. Ciliary muscles relaxes, the lens becomes thinner. So here, when you are looking at the eye accommodated for nearby objects, what will happen is that the ciliary muscles, they are going to contract and the lens is going to become thicker. So the correct answer here is C, A. We now come to our question 23. The question reads, how do biceps and triceps muscles work in straightening the arm? So when you are straightening the arm, what will happen to the biceps and the triceps? A. Biceps contracts, triceps contracts. B. Biceps contracts, triceps relaxes. C. Biceps relaxes, triceps relaxes. D. Biceps relaxes, triceps contracts. So when you are straightening the arm, the biceps, they are going to relax and the triceps are going to contract. So the correct answer here is C, D. So we now move on to question 24. The question reads, the diagram shows potted seedlings placed under a cardboard box with a window cut on one side so that light reaches the shoot from one direction. So this is the potted seedlings placed under a cardboard box with the window cut on one so that light reaches the shoot from one direction. So what type of tropism is being demonstrated in the diagram? A. Negative geotropism. B. Negative phototropism. C. Positive geotropism. D. Positive phototropism. So here we can see that light is entering through the window cut, okay, and we can see the seedlings, they are bedding towards where light is coming from. So the type of tropism that is being demonstrated in this diagram, it's a positive phototropism. So the correct answer is a D. We now move on to question 25. The diagram shows a longitudinal section of the root tip. So this is the root tip. Where does secondary growth occurs? So secondary growth occurs in the vesicular cambium. Okay, so the correct answer is C. This is where we have the vesicular cambium where secondary growth takes place. Okay, so we now come to question 26. So the question reads, the diagram shows a germinating seed. So this is the diagram showing the germinating seed. We have the cotyledon, the hypocote, the seed coat, and the rhizocele. The seedling shown in the diagram above shows dash A. Epigynous germination, which occurs in dicotyledonous plants. B. Epigynous germination, which occurs in monocotyledonous plants. C. Hypogynous germination, which occurs in dicotyledonous plants. D. Hypogynous germination, which occurs in monocotyledonous plants. So the seedling, what type of germination is it showing? So look at the cotyledon. So these cotyledons are not pushed below the ground. They are pushed above the ground. So this type of germination is what we call epigynous germination. Okay, and this epigynous germination is taking place in the dicotyledonous plants. So the correct answer is A. Epigynous germination, which occurs in dicotyledonous plants. So we come to question 27. Which of the following is not the importance of fungi? A. Crop rotation. B. Nutrients recycling. C. Production of alcohol. D. Source of food. So here, which of the following is not the importance of fungi? It's C. Crop rotation. So I come to question 28. The diagram shows one of the artificial vegetative reproduction method, which is this one right here. What method of artificial propagation is shown? A. Budding. B. Cutting. C. Grafting. D. Layering. So you can see what is happening here. You can see that they are joining a part of one plant to another plant, okay, so that they can grow together as a single plant. This is what has happened here. They have taken this part and they have made one. So the type of artificial propagation shown here is grafting. So the correct answer is C. So we now move on to question 29. The diagram shows a section of an insect pollinated flower. Which structure produces pollen grains? So the structure that produces pollen grains are the anthers, which is labeled what? So we now move on to our question 30. The question reads, the diagram shows a method of seed dispersal. So this is the diagram. We have the remains of the star, the valve of pericarp. We also have the seeds that are falling off. So what type of seed dispersal is demonstrated in the diagram? A. Animal dispersal. B. Self-mechanism dispersal. C. Water dispersal. D. Wind dispersal. So just like I've said, that you can see that here the seed is open, hence the seeds are falling off. So this type of dispersal is called self-mechanism dispersal. So we come to question 31. Which of the following statement is true about reproduction in frogs? A. External fertilization occurs. B. Few eggs are laid. C. Internal fertilization occurs. D. It is asexual reproduction. So which of the following statements is true about reproduction in frogs? It's that external fertilization occurs. So the correct answer is A. Question 32. Which part of the reproductive system in humans is cut and tied during vasectomy? A. Fallopian tube. B. Sperm duct. C. Urethra. D. Urethra. So the part of the reproductive system in humans that is cut and tied during vasectomy, it's the sperm duct. So the correct answer is B. So here is our question 33. The question reads, the following bar shows different number of learners and their blood groups in a grade 12 class. So this is the graph showing the blood groups, and here we have the number of learners. What type of genetic variation is shown in the diagram? A, both continuous and discontinuous variation. B, continuous variation. C, discontinuous variation. D, neither continuous nor discontinuous variation. So the type of variation that is shown here is C, discontinuous variation, because the blood groups are one example of discontinuous variation. So we now come to our question E, 34. At which stage of cell division does replication of DNA occurs? A, anaphase. B, interphase. C, metaphase. D, telophase. So replication of DNA occurs at the interphase. So the correct answer is a B. We come to question 35. What are the possible blood groups of the offspring of parents who have blood groups A and B? A, AB only. B, A and B. C, A, B and blood group AB. D, blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB, and blood group O. So here, if both parents are having blood group A and blood group B, the results, what is going to be? So let's look at the possibilities. So here we have blood group A parent and blood group B. So once we refer this to as heterozygous. So once we do the crossings, we can see the offspring that we have. We have blood group AB, blood group B, blood group A, and blood group O. So we are able to say that all these blood groups will be present to their offspring. So the correct answer here is C, D. So we are going to have blood group A, blood group B, blood group AB, and blood group O. So we now come to our question 36. The following is a food chain. So we have rape that is being eaten by grasshopper, the grasshopper being eaten by the bird being eaten by the snake. So which trophic level is occupied by the grasshopper? So the grasshopper here is the primary consumer. Question 37. Which of the following factors increases the size of the population? A, death. B, disease. C, immigration. D, emigration. So the factor that will increase the size of the population from this is the factor where we have that a population is joining another population, and this is immigration. So the correct answer is C, D. We now come to question 38. The question reads, the diagram shows a carbon cycle. So we have carbon dioxide here, we also have animals, plants, and fossil fuels. So which letter represents combustion? Okay, so here we are looking for the letter that presents combustion. So our concentration will be on the fossil fuels. So once these fossil fuels are being burnt, they are going to produce this carbon dioxide, which is right here. So this letter, it's letter A. That is our answer. So we now move on to question 39. The following diagram illustrates the formation of acid rain due to sulfur dioxide pollution in the atmosphere. What measures should be put in place to prevent this type of pollution? So sulfur dioxide is mainly it's coming from the factories. So the measure that should be put in place: A, deforestation. B, global warming. C, soil conservation. D, using filters in the chimneys. So as you can see, this one, sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere, or the factory produces it and it goes into the atmosphere. It combines with the clouds and condenses to form sulfur dioxide in the rain, falls as acid rain. So the measures that should be put in place to prevent this type of pollution is to be using filters in the correct answer is going to be a D. So we now move on to our last question, which is question E, 40. The question reads, which of the following is not an adaptive feature which enables insects to elude predators? A, compound eyes. B, larva stage. C, mouth parts. D, wings. So here we are looking at the adaptive feature which won't be able to enable insects to elude predators. So the answer is C, which is the mouth parts. So the mouth parts cannot enable an insect to be able to elude the predators because The mouth parts are just used for eating food by insects. Okay, so thank you so much, everybody. Come to the end of our presentation. This is your presenter, Mr. Mlenga. Bye bye.